Get on your glasses and get ready to reach out to the truth. On today's episode of Fitheory, we're going to talk about everybody's favorite lovable bear. Although maybe he's not as lovable as he may first seem. Hey, how's it going? And welcome to Fitheory. Teddie. You may know him as the mascot of Persona and all of Atlas. I mean, clearly he's the mascot. Who or what is a Jack Frost, you may be wondering? I don't know. Thanks for watching. Before you go, make sure to vote on... Now, we all know Teddie as the lovable, pun-dropping, fluffy, inexplicably also has a human body, horn dog, shadow turned into a walking headache. But have you ever thought that something is a bit off about this bear? Did something always sort of stick out to you while you were reaching out to the truth? While it may have seemed as though the investigation team has solved every aspect of the murders taking place in Inaba, ranging from a typical Atlas fan, this creepy raper guy, this eyeball,
I have special eyes,
and finally this Shinto mother goddess disguised as a gas station attendant. And that was it. They solved the mystery, right? Well, what if I told you that in truth the mystery had only just begun and had snuck under all of our noses? I propose that the true culprit behind the entirety of Persona 4's plot was in fact Teddie himself. But it goes deeper than that. The person that we all suspect to just be a bumbling, annoying, lunatic weirdo is responsible for leading the entire investigation team on a wild ruse cruise that ended with the elimination of the goddess Izanami from the mortal world. But that's not all, dear viewers. Teddie is no mere bear. He is in fact the original fallen angel, the great tempter, the morning star, the devil himself, Lucifer, from Shin Megami Tensei. Now you may be wondering, why and how on earth is the real Lucifer from S&T in Persona, let alone disguised as a bear? Let's start at the very beginning of the game. A little bit further, like before that, after that part, there's fine. Teddie, or Lucifer, first appears in the TV world after the protagonist, along with Chie and Yosuke, fall in through the TV at Junes. But have you ever thought it's a bit convenient they just so happen to fall at the precise location where Teddie was at? Well, I think not. I think Teddie was tracking your group's movements, or more specifically Narukami's, but I'll get into that and his overarching plan a bit later. Now imagine you are the Demon King Lucifer, about to make first contact with a group of humans who are stuck in a strange world. Humans who you ultimately want to manipulate into doing your bidding. So he takes on the most cutesy, innocent form he can. As we all know, Lucifer is a well-known shapeshifter. He begins his introduction by being very passive and acting as though he's afraid of them. But it's all merely an act to get them to lower their guard. Now, one thing you must understand about Lucifer is that he comprehends the true nature of humanity, ranging from their lust for power, desire for freedom, and most importantly, their unending curiosity. So Lucifer, disguised as Teddie, drops the bomb that people have been falling into this TV world, and then immediately rushes them back outside. Surely any person would be anxious to return after this revelation, and being forced out of this newfound world would only increase their curiosity, and inevitably they would want to come back. It's all one small step in his giant plan. I suspect Teddie initially joins as a supporting role in order to get a better understanding of your abilities without getting directly involved in combat with the shadows. This all works out for him just fine until Risei's shadow makes an appearance. As you may remember, Risei's shadow was the only one the party couldn't defeat through combat. Realizing his plan would be in jeopardy if they were to be eliminated, he, just once, unleashes his true might as the Demon Lord Lucifer and utterly annihilates the unbeatable Shadow. Now, my lovely listeners, you may be thinking, but how do you explain Shadow, Teddie? There's no way a demon like Lucifer has a shadow. Well, I have an explanation for this, because of course I do. Teddie, actually Lucifer, realizes he now has an issue. Now that Risei has a support-based persona, which likely outranks Lucifer's own abilities in that field, he has to cook up a scheme to stay useful without revealing all of his power. So he conveniently has a little existential crisis, which is fitting with the character he's developed for himself, and asks one of his shadow buddies to come on down and give a hand. Or it's possible they're both Lucifer. He has shown the ability to seemingly divide himself into two beings before. And most suspiciously of all, right when Shadow Teddie appears, Risei makes a comment.
I believe so, but it seems like there's more. I felt some powerful presence intervene.
Now what could this presence be? Many seem to believe it's a weakened form of Amino Sagiri, but I believe the powerful presence was right there in front of them, summoning a new ally or splitting himself in two. After this fake Shadow Teddie is beaten, Lucid Teddie once again finds himself in a position of usefulness to the party. And speaking of this persona, its abilities are very similar to the real Lucifer's. It predominantly learns ice magic, and you know who else has an association with ice? Lucifer does! In Nocturne, he learns Mabu Fudain and Glacial Blast, and in Persona 4 as well as Q, Lucifer learns ice magic like Bufudyne and Ice M. This theory is fucking foolproof! Now, my dear viewers, have you ever wondered about Teddie's human form? That totally bishy, blonde, blue-eyed, bombshell, bootylicious boy? Persona 4 is a fairly light-hearted game about murders and the total loss of humanity's ability to think freely, so you probably just ignored it. He's a shadow! Of course it doesn't make sense that he grew a body. It's not supposed to make sense. Well, that is where you may well be wrong. Let's take a look at the flip side over in SMT. Ever since Shin Megami Tensei 1, the Demon Lord has been known for taking on various human forms, such as the classic LUCIFER from SMT 1 and 2. But that's not all. He's also taken the forms of a young boy, an old man, a young man, and from time to time, even a woman. Are you noticing a similarity here? They're all blonde, including Teddie's human form. Plus, just like Louis, Teddie has a penchant for fancy dress. All of Lucifer's human forms are in some sort of tuxedo, and Teddie's human form wears a collared shirt with a rose. But there's one more similarity the two share: cross-dressing. Both Teddie and Lucifer have taken on very feminine forms in the past. Teddie has dressed up as a girl to stunning effect, and Lucifer has taken the forms of Louisa and Hikaru, with Hikaru being an actual schoolgirl, which seems like something that would be right up Teddie's alley. As I mentioned before, Lucifer, disguised as Teddie, has one ultimate goal in mind, and that's the elimination of the goddess Izanami from this mortal realm. Everything goes according to his plan after Naoto gets captured, and they inch their way towards the truth, until a slight bump in the road happens. After being dragged into the TV world, Nanako becomes sick and is on the verge of death, and this is something Lucifer absolutely cannot allow. You see, if Nanako were to die, then the investigation team would put all the blame solely on Namatame, and lose their driving motivation to pursue the truth further, eventually finding out about Adachi and later Izanami. Isn't it convenient that after she passes away in the hospital, Teddie is the last one seen talking to her before she revives? Right after the rest of the group go try to murder Namatame, she just comes back. This is typically cited as one of the most contrived and stupid parts of Persona 4, So let me explain how my theory about the literal devil being this fluffy bear makes more sense. We have seen that exceptionally powerful demons can revive humans, as we saw in Shin Megami Tensei Persona 4 Apocalypse, with Dagda reviving Nanashi to be his god slayer. And so Lucifer revives her, not because he has any feelings of sorrow towards a mere human, but because his persona-using minions would lose their will to continue pursuing the truth if she was dead. Have you ever found it strange that there's only 3 social links that automatically complete as the game progresses? Of course you did! There's the Fool and Judgment Arcana, which both represent the investigation team, and Teddie, who represents the Star. It's almost as though Teddie is subtly forcing his friendship onto you, increasing your trust in him and also your own power to create personas of his arcana. Although it's obviously all just an act on Lucifer's end, he still wants to be as close to you as possible, so he can monitor your behavior, your growth, and your progress when it comes to solving the murder. This link reaches its conclusion in the Velvet Room of all places. As we all know, the Velvet Room is only accessible by a select few, such as those with the wild card, including the protagonist from Persona 3, Aegis, Narukami, as well as Igor and his various attendants. So how did a supposed mere shadow gain access to such a place? Teddie claims that while wandering inside the TV world, the Velvet Room limo pulled up and offered him a ride. I think Igor and Lucifer have goals that coincide with each other's. Teddie seeks to eliminate Izanami, and Igor wants to foster the growth of Narukami, which will of course eventually lead to him defeating Izanami and discovering the truth. This would all make for a great set piece. Narukami completing his social link in the Velvet Room. Teddie pours his heart out and the Star social link is complete, even if he is spouting nothing but lies. He knows he's the one that revived Nanako. He's only pretending to have this existential crisis because it makes you believe his story. Now here's the real kicker. Notice what Teddie's arcana is. Star. And look what persona he grants you after finishing his link. That's right, Hellel. The Lightbringer, the Morning Star, the angelic form of the demon Lucifer before he fell from grace. As a reward for your progress thus far, Lucifer finds it fitting to bless you with the persona representing himself. Although he's saving the glory of his true form for when you finish the mission. So I'm sure you're wondering, what exactly is Lucifer's goal? Why does he want to get rid of Izanami? Well, it has to do with the fog. Izanami, as well as her creation Amano Sagiri, are both after one thing: covering the world in the fog of delusion, simply because they think that is what humanity wants. In fact, Amano has a few quotes on the topic, such as,
"To defy me is a senseless act which goes against your world's wishes. Now, let everything vanish into the sweet fog of illusion."
And,
"No one wishes for the fog to lift. Why act against the wishes of your fellow man? Consider, is that truly just?"
Izanami has similar quotes like,
"Of the truth is not everything. Yet drunk with truth, you exceeded your role and became too involved. Now, learn for yourselves whose wrath you have brought down.
and,
Instead of the endless struggle, wouldn't it be easier to wrap oneself in lies and live in blissful ignorance? Isn't that true peace for humans?"
When you think about it, it's all very similar to the philosophy of law in Shin Megami Tensei. Conformity obeying a greater power, order at any cost, mindlessness. And that is ultimately what Lucifer, as Teddie, is trying to stop. If this fog covers the world, the humans, who are so pivotal to Lucifer's battle against God, will become utterly thoughtless slaves. Which is the antithesis of Lucifer's vision for the world. Free thought, a battle for survival, conquering others, anarchy. If enveloped by the fog, the humans would be no better than the mindless shadows that infest the TV world. As he says in Strange Journey under the guise of Louisa, I harbor no love for humanity, but I will not abandon them. This isn't the first time Lucifer and Izanami have had a conflict either. In the original Digital Devil story novels, Lucifer seals Izanami's power. And in the first game, Lucifer captures Izanami in order to summon his temple. After you and your party have sent her packing with the awakening of Izanagi no Okami, Lucifer can assert his dominance over the rest of humanity, without ever having to lift a finger and make his true presence known. This is all very fitting with his character. In Shin Megami Tensei, he essentially stays back and lets your character take care of the problem for him. Similar things happen in Nocturne, and in Strange Journey, and who's to say it didn't happen in Persona 4? When you look back at all the evidence presented, it becomes clear Teddie is not who he claims to be. The suspicious circumstances of his appearance at the beginning, his sudden burst of power against Shadow Risei, the fact that he knows ice magic, now that one is book solid. The mysterious sudden emergence of a human form, Nanako being brought back. His appearance in the Velvet Room, the fact that he represents the Star Arcana and gives Hallel. And of course his ultimate goal, Izanami. And his mission to free humanity from her fog of delusion. It is undeniable, inarguable, fucking factual that Teddie was the Demon Lord Lucifer all along, and you were all played for fools. But that's just a theory, a Fitheory. Thanks for watching. Before you go, perhaps you'd like to vote on the next Fitheory